Around the late 15th century, the Europeans were dying of hunger and running around helter skelter in search of food. Starvation, sickness, and death was prevalent in the land. As a result, several sailors and desperate men and women launched out in search of a better life for their dying civilization, of course. One man got lucky and stumbled on the new civilization that was to become the source of hope to the starving Europeans. This discovery was purely by accident, by the way. It had been late in the evening. The delirious man was on the verge of meeting his maker when some very kind fishermen had found him drifting to his death and they managed to pull him to shore. They revived him, they gave him clean water, food, shelter, and care. They nursed the poor stranger back to life, and as soon as he regained consciousness, bam, his curiosity returned. He joined the locals in exploring the land, walking around, looking at things, admiring the sun, and whatnot, whatnot. And the naive locals who had not experienced the foreigner's hunger lived simply with no extra desire for excessive amassment of material wealth. They did not understand his hunger, neither did they recognize his greed. They innocently gave him a tour of their land, shared their food with him, taught him their language, and hosted him without reservation, unaware of the stranger's true nature and the untold evil he was about to unleash on their lands. Once he was done seeing the wonders of this new land, the man headed back to his home with tales of his travels. He had so many things to talk about, but we will not talk of the parts where he called his hosts Bushmen and barbarians. That's a story for another day. This man sold the idea of this new land so much that before you know it, another boat landed, and like flies chasing after mangoes, they flocked to Africa in droves. Not even the harsh sun and the angry mosquitoes that drastically reduced their numbers by the day could stop them. Every time they arrived, they were treated as kings, given escorts, and amply provided for. Soon they stopped coming for sightseeing and started coming to take things. At first it was, oh, this your palm oil is beautiful. Can you give us some to power our boats for our missionary journeys and all of that? Then it became, this your Bini art is fine. Oh. How do you people do it? I will take some. And then when the people said, no, it's sacred, you can't take it. It then became, if you don't give it to me, I will burn your cities down. I will kill your children and take it by force. And that's when the eyes of the locals began to open. But it was already too late. By the time they began to shout, do you know who I am? Do you? And everybody began to fight. The visitors started to show who they truly are. And that's when the problem started. Fire started to drop from the sky. People started to shout, Osanobua, hey, problem, deal, right? And just like that, an invasion began. The relationship between Africa and her visitors ceased to be one of mutual cohabitation and became a relationship of the conqueror and the conquered. These men, these visitors, partnered with evil men, empowered them, and successfully subdued the good men. Then they stole and stole and stole until they had nowhere to store their stolen wealth, or at least until their conscience began to judge them. They stole natural resources, human capital, culture, religion, arts, name it. Now, years later, the children of the once peaceful civilization who had been forced to adjust to the new systems that these visitors forced on them decided to visit the visitors that they once welcomed with open arms. But guess what? These visitors that are now being visited no longer want visitors. Anyway, that's it for today's rant. I am the one and only Mariah, and I like to discuss history, society, and my problems. So if you like to listen to my rants, please join the tribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.